Just 1 second. Go. Videos and Voices of the Unheard. We are To Be Streamed, a global youth media initiative. And you're keeping it ugly with me, Joe Ugly, and Wendy Hamilton, candidate for mayor of the city of New Haven, as we discuss the issues of the city and her plans to address them and fix them if we may. All right. So, Wendy, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share my ideas with you.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciated. I think one of the fairest thing that I can say that media should put forth is giving everyone, especially everyone who's running for office, a voice. I don't want to be capsuled into that. I only want this candidate or that candidate to do so, because you never really know how a candidate can shine at the end of the day or how they may fall behind. You never know. So, with that said, uh, we can all agree that there are many issues that need to be addressed in the city of New Haven. What would you say is the most pressing issue in the city right now?
Affordable housing,
Mhm.
public school
Okay.
fiasco, our biggest problems countrywide are the wealth gap, racism, and wage stagnation.
Okay, but here in the city of New Haven, you say affordable housing is something that you think is the most pressing.
The most pressing is there is no affordable housing, and our current mayor has blown his chance by raising taxes twice and providing less service here.
When you say has blown his chance twice,
Two tax increases
okay,
since he was elected 2019.
uh,
He started 2020. He was great with COVID, and he's marvelous at robocalling,
mhm.
but he's made some major mistakes which have hurt him. I'm not going to badmouth him.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
He's,
Go
his,
ahead. Go ahead.
his actions say it all.
When you say he made some bad raising taxes, there are things that have to be paid for. He's not raising it to give himself a raise. What would you say about the things that he raised taxes for? What do you say?
Well, he raised taxes. I don't know where the money's going or where it is. Try to talk to Mr. Gormany, the budget director. The office door is locked. The staff is small, and I was given 5 minutes a few months ago and got no answers to my questions.
What were the questions you had? Now you got the opportunity. Go ahead. Let me hear some of the questions that you
Well,
had.
the budget stands as far as the budget book is concerned. You can get the budget book for free at City Hall. It weighs about 20 pounds. The budget this year is $700 million just from 2022 to 2023.
Okay.
But
now, go ahead.
We owe between 1 and 2 billion to creditors and bondholders.
So, where do you think the 700 million that the city's budget is going? Where do you see that money?
I don't know where it's going. If you go into City Hall, it's so empty, there's an echo.
Well, we had COVID, and a lot of people were working from home. That what you're saying is.
Well,
go ahead.
I remember HARP. I remember the 11% tax increase And the following week, when she announced her $10,000 a year raise, that did not make a very good impression on me.
I understand what you're saying. Well, I can hear what you're saying. If we look at it as just on the surface, I can, it looks bad. It looks questionable. But when we look in detail, what did the monies actually do when she raised taxes? We can see some things happen, especially for the youth of the city of New Haven. So my thing is, I often hear people running for office and say, "Oh, there are high taxes, this and it's doing that." But exactly what do you think the taxes? This is all public information. Did you do any
Well,
research on where this money went,
where did it
or
go?
should the 700 million? Can you address
I
that?
I think the money went to the wrong people.
You think it went? You're not sure though.
Uh,
Go
right
ahead.
now,
Mhm.
I don't know where the money went, but you can look at the budget book. At this point, for instance, we are told uh, there's $4 million available to help homeless housing.
How
Um,
much? How much?
4 million.
Okay.
But if you talk to the nonprofits
Mhm.
here that deal with housing for homeless people,
Mhm.
that 4 million is still being held somewhere.
Mm.
I don't know where the money goes. I don't know where which money's come. We're getting state money. We're getting federal money, grants. We're getting peanuts from Yale. Uh, I have a plan, and my plan is a tax rollback to pre-HARP. We're already way overtaxed. I want to protect people like myself, the little guy, and small businesses here. And
Mhm.
in order to rescue the city,
Mhm.
I am going to declare municipal bankruptcy, Chapter 9, my first day in office.
But is that hold on? I understand that's what you would like to do,
Yes.
but is that healthy for the credit standings of the city?
Well,
Because we do need a credit standing.
right now, this city doesn't have much credit standing.
But what would a bankruptcy do? Then it'll totally wipe it out. Would you agree?
Bankruptcy is the key to success here in order to wipe out overwhelming debt and the multitude of dirty contracts with Yale and other predators. What we need is a total economic reset, a restructuring of debt, a clean slate to change politics and save this floundering city.
Okay, those are great talking points. They're actually great reading points. I want to hear from you, Wendy. I want to hear from Wendy Hamilton, the candidate, the person who is going to put down you're not going to read the clipboard. You're going to just address the issues at hand. Just talk to me.
Okay.
Just talk,
Okay. All
talk with
right.
me. Tell me what it is. You can put that aside.
Okay.
You can put aside the
Well,
clipboard. You can
actually,
aside the
this
notes.
is the heart of
You
what I
know,
have to say. I am not going to sit on the couch and watch this city crash and burn. We need radical change and new political tools, not the tools in the Board of Aldermen.
all right. Okay. That's pretty good. Great talking points. The one thing that I try to stay away from a set questions because to me it's almost like texting. You text someone and then they sit back and the communication skills are not there. So what they do is they sit back and they wait for the right thought to come out, opposed to be able to flow with what you see as the issue or what you want to converse about. So if you could just work with me and just you can put away the notes. We can just talk. Yeah,
Yes,
please.
but months of research
Mhm.
and
That's good. And
ideas are in my notes.
I don't mind you having uh little mind jugglers, if we may. I mean, we all have mind jugglers. Hell, I even have some mind jugglers
Right.
or something, but I'm not going to read exactly what it is, the whole readout. I would like to know when we're
Okay.
talking about homelessness.
Okay. You want
Oh,
concrete answers
exactly.
to concrete problems.
Good. Exactly.
The city has a multitude. We're overwhelmed with problems.
Like
And
most cities, let's be fair. Like most cities, we're overrun with problems. Homelessness. We look at homelessness and we see
okay. Well, all right.
just 1 second, please.
Fact.
Homelessness is more than just who we see, the individuals we see sleeping on the sidewalk, sleeping. There are a lot of young people.
We're talking about people who are evicted, people who barely make a living and are living from week to week, just scraping by for food and rent. And this includes employees at Yale. Uh, in the meantime, only 25% of this city votes, and many of those 23% of the city votes, and most of those folks are working 3 jobs.
So tell me something. When you
These
say
voters are hard to find.
23%.
23%. I have the paperwork.
Okay, 23% of the city's residents or eligible voters actually vote, is what you're saying, right?
Well,
What would you do what are you doing to motivate more people to come out and vote?
are you talking about voting or?
Voting.
Okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah, tell me about it, because that's a huge one.
Well,
You want to motivate the individuals to
what
come out
I
and
would
vote for
like
you.
is everybody who lives here would vote here. The problem is a lot of people are from other countries, other states where they choose to vote. And there's a great deal of apathy and hopelessness here. People have given up. I don't blame them. There are many paradoxes in town. And I could list them for you if you let me. We have a big FBI headquarters and a failing police force. We have a Yale School of Architecture and a bunch of new ugly buildings. We have a Yale School of Public Health and a multitude of community health problems. We have the worst air pollution in New England, but a potentially expanding airport.
Okay, Wendy, let me
I could go on.
Okay, let me interrupt you for a second.
Okay.
Okay. I hear all the things that you're talking about, the city that are not great. Every city has their problems. I want to talk about what can you bring, because we could always pinpoint all this.
Okay.
What can you do, you as mayor, do to elevate the city from because all of these problems you're highlighting,
Yes,
they're
right.
there.
Okay,
Great.
I'm
And
going
it's
to tell you right now.
I don't want you to read it.
Okay.
I want you to tell me. Tell me what it is that you want to do for the city.
Number 1, declare bankruptcy. Wipe out the dirty contracts. Number 2.
What do you mean by wipe out the dirty contracts? I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Chapter 9. What happens in Chapter 9?
I understand how the chapters work, but what do you call a dirty contract? I guess is what the real question.
Well, look at all these developers moving in from out of town. Look at the slumlords getting away with tax deferrals, tax abatements, shabby buildings.
But what contracts do they have with the city?
Well, whatever contracts Harp and Elliker have made with these people are going out the window. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2.
Just 1 second. I just want to address that.
I have a solid plan.
I'm quite sure.
Okay.
I just want to address those, Wendy. When you say you're gonna get those dirty contracts, and I'm all for removing dirty contracts. Are you aware for a fact that there are dirty contracts out there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're aware of these dirty contracts.
No, it's very obvious.
A lot of things looks obvious, but sometimes they're not.
Well, look at all
So
these buildings mushrooming up
okay,
that are market rate and only market rate. And not only that, but you can't even get into these buildings unless you have a computer and you pay via the internet. Now, what I plan to do is declare, demand, and enforce half Section 8 in all new and old apartment buildings over 6 apartments. I'm not going after the small landlord,
mhm.
I'm going after all the others, the slumlords, Ocean, Pike, Mandy, all those market rate greedy developers putting up shabby buildings. Uh, I could go on if you want.
No, well, I hear what you're saying, but you
I
say
have been in a lot of those buildings and I'm disgusted.
okay. That's issues as far as uh, that those issues are beyond the mayor's reach. I mean, first of all, we're talking about people who are getting building permits. That's totally different from the mayor's office. We're talking about people who are doing things by the book to get these permits.
Yeah, well,
Whether the books are whether they
the book,
whether we like the books or not, they're following the law.
first of all, nobody reads that book, and that book is going right out the window. The
Okay,
politics in this state are corrupt, uh, uh, and they're not working for this city. I am going to do something to change what's going on here.
I
And
understand
and
that,
I
Wendy.
am going to work for free. I don't need $140,000 a year. I am getting paid by the federal government with Social Security. I am going to work for free and I'm going to save this city a lot of money. A lot of six-figure people in City Hall, the school supervisory people, and other futile functionaries are going to get out or get less money. Um, I have plans for every department. I'm going to enlarge LCI. We're going to spend more time trying to enforce building codes. The police are mismanaged. I've got a recipe for them, and I also have a recipe for dealing with Yale, who should be paying half the budget. They should be paying us $300 million a year. They own over 60% of the land. They call themselves a nonprofit, but they make plenty of profit. They're worth over $40 billion. Now, there is 1,000 millions in a billion, and I have a recipe to leverage that money out of Yale, and that will go with my rent rollback for people like myself, the small taxpayer,
Okay, Wendy. I hear what you're
who is
saying.
totally unprotected.
Hold on. I heard what you're saying. I still hear what you're saying. What I'm getting at is first and foremost is that when you say dirty contracts,
Yeah.
and hold on, and to this point, to this space where we're at right now in this conversation, you have not truly identified what is a dirty contract. We may not like a contract. We may not like someone
Well,
that we may not like someone uh, who is putting up a building that is not including homeless, who is not including low income, who is not including people. We can say that, but to call them dirty contracts, hold on.
I got
Well,
other words I could use.
well, I would prefer that we do choose other words because when we start dirty contracts, we're doing no more than putting those bumper stickers, stain marks on people and businesses that look. I would tell you right now, I have concerns about all of the developments that are going up that are
I'm
not in,
glad. I'm glad you
that are
do.
not including
You should go
low.
for
Let me
some.
finish,
Okay.
please. That are not including homeless, is not including low income, not including people of color. I see all of the little lockouts, if I may, and I do have a problem with that. However, I'm not there to call them dirty contracts because they're not. They're actually doing what the books allow them to do. They are in there, and from what I understand, and I've looked at some of this stuff, and I'm like, okay, you are doing what you do in a business space in free enterprise. They're exercising
No, it's
free
greed and
enterprise.
theft.
I'm not saying greed could be one thing, but let's not use the word theft because I
It's
don't
theft from the city, and I can
look.
explain
One could
why.
say when you start stealing is when you start taking without asking. If what you're getting is you ask me for $100 and I give it to you, I can't turn around and say you stole it from me because you are nice when you say it. No, I can't. That's not fair to you. So I don't want to use those words just because. No, if you con me into doing it, that's a different game. So did these people come in and con the city out of it? I don't know that. I don't have that evidence. I don't
The
have no evidence of that. I don't know
well,
anyone who have that evidence.
I what I'm saying is the mayor selling our public land for cheap
Okay.
to shady sleazebag developers. I'm just
What is the public land?
this is my opinion. Selling our land for cheap,
Which public
and
land?
it's all stamped, rubber stamped by the board of aldermen.
Which public land? Let's address that if we're going to talk on it. Which public land are you pointing on?
All over town where these developments are popping up.
Okay, well let me ask you a question.
Market rate, I might add.
Mhm. Okay, like where? For example, what? Give me one public land.
Yeah, well, for instance,
Uh huh.
where you live,
Right.
sold for $1. Then Bizzuto put up 500 apartments
Hmm.
and a swimming pool, and
Hmm.
luckily gave us a grocery store that very few people here can afford, unfortunately.
Hmm.
I use it, but it's pricey. That land they paid $1 for. Now, those 500 apartments,
Hmm.
I would like an honest answer from the manager. Actually, they just sold the building. So you've got a new landlord now who's going to refurbish because there are problems with the building. It leaks. It leaks like my place leaks. Every building in town leaks. And they've got empty apartments, but they're not going to the Section 8. They only rent supposedly 10% Section 8, but I doubt that there are 10% Section 8 people in that building. Now, Section 8 is a good thing for landlords because they actually get paid on time by the federal government.
Okay.
And a
Yeah.
lot of these people, most of these people are our neighbors. These are people like you and me. It is no insult to be a Section 8. There are thousands of people waiting for their Section 8 housing. We can supply it. Right now, I would say we have thousands of empty apartments available in this city. We could probably house every homeless person, every evicted person, and even take some homeless people out of New York City and bring them here.
Okay. So wait a minute. You're just assuming that
Yes.
we have a lot of empty apartments.
I know
here.
we do.
Okay. I've been recently deep diving into apartment hunting. And believe me, I know in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, I know people all up and down. And the availability of apartments, they're not really there. Uh, if we want to talk about if they're affordable or not, that's a different story altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a
The
different story.
rents are obscene.
But that's a different argument altogether.
No, it's
Uh,
part of
if
the
we're looking
problem.
at, if we're
Wealth
looking,
gap
yes, that's a wealth gap, but that's a national issue. That's
and
not just
racism.
that's a national issue as well, if not an international issue. These are things that we can. I want to know as when we're talking about a mayor like yourself. You want to be mayor, right? First of all, let me ask: have you ran for any other elected? Have you ever held any other
Yeah.
elected office? Please share.
I have. I ran for mayor against Tarp in 2019.
Okay, you ran,
but
but
I
did you?
let Elliker win because I thought he would do a good job. That was a big mistake on my part.
Okay, 1 second. Let me go back again. You said that you ran for office. Have you ever held any elected office? Just curious. Just curious. That's it. No.
You know, you don't have to run for office in advance of running for office.
That's a good point. I'm
yeah,
not going to
look
take.
at this
I'm
guy.
not-
Look at Santos in New York.
Right.
A
Look at him. That's exactly a good point to look at. I mean, when you're looking at people who just pop up and they have
let me
not.
tell you something else.
Okay.
Okay. The real politics here is in the barber shops and the churches. That's where the truth is spoken. Unfortunately, City Hall isn't listening to that truth and never has as long as I have lived here. I've been here since 1983.
Mhm.
I worked for Yale starting in '84, and I saw how they treated their employees, and I wasn't thrilled. I missed New York City, but I'm here, and I'm here to stay, and I'm going to fix what I can,
Mhm.
and that's why I'm running for mayor.
Okay. Well, this is what I want to hear more of, Wendy. More of you just talking with me, opposed to just trying to read it off. What you just did there was, actually, that was great. I mean, I want to hear from you, the candidate. I don't want to. I want to try to. Now, I read your platform, and you have. If you give me a couple seconds here, you have no tax increases, no tax abatements, no airport expansion,
Yeah.
no more car lots or garages, more parks for kids,
Yep.
upgrade schools, redo pension plans, more Section 8 housing, better bus routes / schedules,
It's all
realistic
doable.
Yale dollars, no more, I say bullshit. You said no ICE, more IRIS,
Right.
the Integrated Risk Information System. Is that what?
Another paradox about this city. We are a sanctuary city, but there is no housing, no affordable housing. We have 2,000 homeless people living on the streets, only 157 shelter beds, maybe a couple more than that. I support Iris and everything they're doing. I am for open borders, bring on the refugees. Spanish is an official American language here, and I could go on and on.
Well, don't stop. I mean, when you're talking about homelessness, for example,
Homelessness,
what
yeah.
what would you do? What would you do as mayor to address homelessness in the
Well,
city?
okay, the first thing I would do was put some cots and blankets in City Hall. We have two very empty buildings, which can still be my workplace, and we will keep office staff. We will run the city, but those buildings can house several hundred homeless people with donated cots, blankets, and we need a central 24/7 warming shelter. Right now, all we have is a train station. And what's
Okay,
going
when you
on
say-
there is criminal.
When you say a warming shelter is good, that's what it is. But you want to lay out cots in City Hall, and you want to.
Yes, well, there's more to the story.
Okay, you want to lay out cuts. I'll let you go on in the story without you changing to the train station. I want to address the when you say you're gonna lay out cuts in City Hall and you're gonna
Yeah.
house the homeless and you're gonna let the homeless sleep. I take it for a warm space, right? We don't have other shelter, other buildings around the city
Yeah, no, they're
that
not.
can be.
I'll say they're around. The shelters are usually on the fringe of the
Well, let's
city.
okay. Well,
And these people need resources. They need counseling. They need medical care. They need public transportation available to them. They should be in the middle of the city where all of these things are easily accessed on foot, which is
okay.
all they have.
And you think City Hall is the only space
I
that you could?
think City Hall would make a great shelter, and it would also be an example of sanctuary and also people coming in to say, pay their taxes or speak to me or do any of the errands in City Hall would get a look at a big problem here, homelessness, for whatever reason. Now, not every homeless person wants a home, but most of them are people hoping and praying for a room somewhere, some kind of a home, a roof. And
Okay, but when
we
you
can do that in this city. It can be done. We have 400 nonprofits, many of them involved with homelessness. And what we can do is engage them as a group, get them to work together with my ideas and their ideas and forge ahead to house as many people as we can using the housing first approach, which has been used successfully in other cities. We can do this.
okay, Mayor Adams of New York came up with a plan to utilize empty hotels, empty buildings
Right,
of such. And that to me was an effective plan, or at least a plan. Let me highlight that. I don't
right.
know how far he got with it so far. You're saying open up City Hall and you're going to put homeless people in there,
Well,
which
what
which of course is going to create a transitional space is what it is that I think that what you're creating, right?
uh,
Because it can't be in City Hall forever.
well,
So it will be a transitional space.
City Hall is
So
empty.
so you're thinking to make City Hall a transitional space?
Transitional space, you can, yes, that's fine. It'll be, nobody's going to live there permanently. It will be transitional.
Okay, so you
But
have City Hall as a transitional space. What's the time frame that you're looking to keep people in a transitional
as long
space?
as I'm mayor, right now, go to the train station and see what's happening there. 50, 60 or more people live in the train station. Unfortunately, the man who runs the train station, um, I've met him. His name is Sam Parry, and he is boss of the city parking authority. His office is on George Street. I have spoken to him more than once, and I begged him to stop throwing homeless people out at 1 in the morning. Every night they get kicked out into the cold until 4 a.m., and that is totally unnecessary. It is a torture. It is a cruelty. And if he continues to do that, he's the first guy I'm going to fire.
Okay,
I have a long list of people I'm going to fire.
I think you're gonna fire
All
everyone, but
6 figure people. I'll save the city lots of money.
Wendy, that's not good. That's I got to do massive pushback on that because if you're gonna fire people that
Not
let me finish my
okay.
song. You have someone who's making six digits. Chances are they went to college. They have these college bills and all this other stuff. So you're gonna create other problems, other economic problems when you fire these six digits people just to try to say you're gonna save the city money. Not only would you have uh, you'll start attracting people who are less qualified because people still have
Just the opposite.
people. No, you're not being in real. We're not in a real world right now. Just based on what inflation is right now, and when we look at how people have to survive, you're gonna get rid of people's income. You're gonna fire these individuals. You're
Well,
gonna
wait a minute. You
no,
haven't-
no, 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 no. I give you time to talk. Please give me time to talk now. You're talking about firing individuals. Where are they gonna go? I don't know. You're just gonna fire these
They
individuals.
will.
You all you
Well,
and
no, no.
oh no, let me finish. Then you're gonna go ahead and based on what you're explaining to me, you're gonna fire these individuals, or you gotta replace them or make them take a lower price, a lower pay. Okay, this is what you're proposing. You're gonna make them take a lower pay. These individuals have responsibility, a lot of economic responsibilities. They may have student loans, which, by the way, is a major issue right now.
No, we're not talking.
No, 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 no. I let you talk. You have to
All right.
listen to me. These individuals may have student loans that they're trying to pay off, which carries a major. I don't believe that you're actually laughing at that.
I'm laughing because what students? Is Mike Piscatelli a student?
But he might have a student loan. You don't know what burdens
Is
people are
Ed
carrying.
Madison a student?
But they may still have student loans. There are people in their
That's
60s.
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but it is a fact in our
No,
country.
it's not
In
a
our
fact.
country, that there are people in their 60s that are still carrying student loans. That is a fact, Wendy. You can't dismiss that. Look it up. So let's not say because someone is such.
Yeah, but
Someone
not
might
these
have-
guys.
But you don't know this. You don't know people's economic
I can
stature.
go to
And
Davin.
I don't think
I can find out.
I don't think it is
But
fair to.
Here's
You
who I'm
can't
gonna.
know this.
You want to hear who
You-
I'm gonna fire?
You can't know this. No, you can let me finish because you went through a list of stuff that you say you want to fire. Now, I just want to make sure that you're not going to create another economic disaster in the city because now that you have fired people who are 6 digits and qualified, and now you're trying to replace them with qualified people, but have responsibilities that are beyond that. This is why right now in our country, what you're doing is no different than what the major corporations are doing by having people were having to work 2 and 3 jobs to try to cover their bills. That is ridiculous. I'm trying to wrap my head around that,
Yeah,
Wendy.
but
Help me.
that's your opinion. Okay?
No, that's my facts. I'm not talking on opinion. I'm speaking on facts because there are people who say you only need XYZ amount of money, but in all reality, inflation is not allowing people to meet their bills with the money that the corporations are telling them. And this is what you're telling me you're going to do. All 6-digit jobs you're going to start looking to unload from the city. Well, how are you going to attract qualified and effective people into these positions if you're not going to give them? Look, I know someone right now. He's in none of that, but the person is in their late 50s and are carrying student loan debt. They went and got master's degree to try to advance. So now they're carrying student loan debt. Student loan debt is student loan debt is nothing to exit to just.
Student loan debt might be their own children, but most of those people, when we went to school, I mean, I'm in my 70s. When we went to school 30, 40 years ago, it was way cheaper.
It was way cheaper. Absolutely. I'm not going to dispute that. The point is, there are a lot of people who went to school, who went back to school.
Yeah, but
there are a lot of people who went back to school in the last 10, 15. No, I'm not off subject. I'm very much so on subject because you're telling me that you want to get rid of.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know how old you are, but are you still paying student debt on yourself?
Not on myself because what student debt? Go ahead.
I'm going to fire the Board of Ed, the Board of Zoning, and
so you're gonna go in
a few bigoted cops.
Okay. Look, I don't have a problem with bigoted cops going by
and
because then they're
urban
not
planning
doing their job.
is going to go out the window.
But let's talk for a second about people.
The second guy I'm going to fire is Mike Piscatelli.
I'm so tempted to ask you what's your personal beef with Mike because you mentioned his name like about two or three
I'll
times.
tell you what my
No, no, no. I don't
personal
want to know.
beef
I don't
is.
want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I really and
It
truly
has
don't want to know.
nothing to do with sex.
No, no, no. I don't want to know. I really. Oh my God, Mike Piscatelli. I mean, I gotta go. Whatever it is, that's the personal thing that you
Well,
got.
can I get a word in edgewise?
Sure, you can. I've let you. I've given you like 30 minutes of talk.
I got plenty of time.
I got you.
20 minutes.
Go.
Okay.
I give you, for the most part, I let you talk. I let you even read off your book. But now, I have a problem whenever I see. Oh, you're going back to your talking points?
Huh?
Are you going back to your notes, your
Well,
talking
I've
points?
got some wonderful notes here.
Go ahead. I like
Okay.
to, when.
All right, let me get to urban planning. Urban planning here is urban slamming.
Okay, nice slogan. That fits on a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
That's
A
bump.
paradox.
That's what I call bumper sticker politics.
Yeah,
I really and truly don't subscribe to it. I like when you can tell me,
we got a bunch of buildings
yeah,
that they you look at these new developments and you would think there's a race to get the thinnest walls, the cheapest fixtures, the worst colors, the lousiest lobbies, the leakiest roofs, the most expensive rents, and the shortest building lifespans.
okay, all right, pause 1 second.
I've got more to
No,
say.
no. Wendy,
Okay.
work with me. Uh, One of the things that I like to do is to give people a voice, and that's what I want. What I'm doing here is giving you a voice. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's critical
Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
I think it's critical that everyone gets a voice in the
Right.
echo chamber. I think it's very important.
And I would
No
love-
matter no matter what we may think about the person's opinion or whatever it is, that's why I'm not shutting you down.
Okay.
That's why I'm not saying, "Oh, I'm not going to have you on." It is critical in our society. We have gotten to this point in society where we pick and choose who should have a voice. I'm not in that
Right.
zone. I'm not in that zone.
Okay. No.
I may
no.
not agree with what you say. I may not agree with your policies.
I know.
But I'm not going to stop you from having a voice.
Thank you.
So with that said,
yeah.
I would like for you to at least let me get some kind of understanding of what the voice is bringing to me. What are you bringing? What are you trying to get across, not just to myself, but to the people who will be listening to this, will be watching this? I want to know what it is that Wendy's platform is going to do for them. Now, we highlighted a few things.
Right.
You start talking about urban planning. Urban planning, it's challenging. One, you have to agree with that. It's a challenging thing. It's not just something that we just come up with all of a sudden. Most urban planning, it's planned today, and by the time the first 2 or 3 phases of it goes into effect, it's already obsolete because no one expected a mass migration into that area. And it creates a lot of issues within cities. It breaks up communities. I'm fully aware of this. I can tell you the problems, but I'm also going to look at the solutions, and I can also look at the cause of the problem. As a matter of fact, that's the way I get to the solution, is by looking at the cause of the problem, not just the problem. When when you talk about urban planning, and we're talking about putting up buildings that the aesthetic you may not like, I may not like.
Can I say something?
Sure you can.
Why don't you run for mayor?
I have no interest. I have zero interest. I love what I do, and if I give up and stop doing what I do, having people like yourself having a voice. So what I do, I know what's critical about what I do. And yes, I've lined up a lot of others that I've put in space in the last 3 years that if I should go away for any reason, they can step in and do what I do. That's what as the that's the process. The process is to keep these voices
Uh-huh.
going.
Right.
So, as I was saying, urban planning, we may not like the aesthetics of the buildings that they're putting up. We may think that it's cheap work, whatever it is. That we can look at a myriad of things. We can look at a myriad of things and say, I don't like X, Y, Z. I don't like this. I don't like that. And that's our personal uh, likings, if I may. What I'm concerned about, every city, first of all, let me back up. Every city have to attract businesses and developers in order for it to grow. That's a fact. So this is one of the reasons why I say when you highlight all the problems, what will attract new business or make businesses that are already here want to stay or new businesses to come in? What would it do that? That's why I wanted to hear the solutions to the problem versus the problems.
All right.
Go
First
for it.
of all, I have stated I intend to protect the small businesses that are here.
That's the small businesses.
Now, nationally, as our country takes a terrible turn economically and politically, commerce is dying. And you're right, it would help if we could bring more commerce here, but nationally, commerce is on the wane.
You're giving me doom and
Many
gloom again.
cities and towns
You're giving me doom and
have
gloom.
empty storefronts just like New Haven and are also bankrupt just like New Haven. They don't have tax bases because wealthy people get away without paying tax.
These are all what I call bumper sticker politics. Bumper sticker politics since the 70s, the late 70s, have destroyed our country. We need to get to politics that has substance and solutions, mainly solutions. Okay, let's go. Well, substance and solutions. It must happen. We must look at if we're looking at something.
I don't own a car and I don't have any place to put a bumper sticker.
So you just spout out these bumper sticker thoughts. It's the same.
That's
It's the same.
I spent a lot of time researching
And
what this city
I will
needs.
not. You know something? To be honest with you, I think you do a lot of research, and I could tell that. I could tell you're loaded with information. I can tell that. I can tell based on the information you've got, you're getting frustrated. I can tell that. I can tell that you want to see change. I can tell that. But most importantly, if you're not going to be effective with that information and how much you can do with it, then I can tell you it'll become a waste. And I don't want to see that as a waste.
I intend to be quite effective, and I intend to get this city into the New York Times. This is a poor city, bankrupted by corrupt politicians and greedy corporations, while the second richest school globally sits in the middle and does nothing. This is staggering and shocking, and I will not allow it anymore. Why isn't Elliker kicking Yale's ass instead of kissing it?
Okay, here's the question.
A big problem here.
Okay, I'm going to, I ask, now I'm going to practically beg that we stop banging out words like corrupt politician. Again, those are bumper stickers politics. That's bumper sticker politics. Corrupt politician, yes, that's what everyone have in their mind, and all you're doing is you're just throwing that out there. I want to know.
No, it's most people listening would know what's going on in the city.
I don't think so.
I do.
No, okay. A lot of people listen. A lot of people hear, but are they deeply informed? I don't think people are truly informed of what's going on in the city around them. Otherwise, all of these things that you're saying about this individual, he wouldn't have been in office if people were actually listening.
Are you talking about Elliker?
Yes, you're saying this about Alaka, that about Alaka. If people were, if people were really listening to what you
Well,
were saying, if people were really listening to what you were saying, it wouldn't be.
a lot
He
of
wouldn't be.
people that worked for Elliker
Mhm.
worked for Harp.
Okay, so again, if people, you're saying that people, you believe that people really listen. I don't. If that's what you're saying, the Harp administration, the Elka administration are pretty much the same. Then apparently people are not listening. So what are
These,
you doing to
I,
help people to listen then?
I intend to follow up. Uh, we've had two disappointing mayors prior. I intend to fix what I can as soon as I can.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, not just here in New Haven. I'm going to open it up to anywhere. Show me a mayor. Tell me a mayor that you think anywhere that is doing a highly effective job with no pushback. No, go ahead. Give
Uh,
me a mayor.
Somebody in City Hall who's doing
Not
a high
anywhere in this country.
in this
In
country.
this country, show me a model mayor. Whom would
Oh,
you
I can
say?
do that.
Okay, whom would you say is a model?
The best mayor this country ever had was Coleman Young. He was elected for 20 years in Detroit.
Yeah. And how did Coleman Young left?
Coleman Young, who wrote his story, his autobiography.
Never mind all of
Okay.
that. How did
Well,
he leave office?
he was abused and mistreated by a white supremacy government and hunted by the FBI most of his life, but he believed in integration, and so do I.
Okay, everyone. Not everyone.
And he,
Not everyone, but let me correct myself. But integration is something that's high on the top, especially people of color. Well, this is
yeah,
what we
but we
believe.
don't have
This
integration
is what we
here.
believe. No, this is what.
Connecticut has a lot in common with Mississippi.
Well,
Yes.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
there are some things in Connecticut where we could see someone, a young man, gets his neck snapped in the back of a police transport wagon.
Well,
You know that
can I say
that is right.
something?
Of course you can.
when I first moved here, I got a letter inviting me to join the Ku Klux Klan in Connecticut,
I won't be surprised. I mean,
which is pretty silly because I'm Jewish. They hate me too. And I found out from a black man that KKK uniforms are made in Shelton, Connecticut.
is that right?
Yeah,
Okay, I don't know this.
Shelton.
This is definitely news to me. I never knew that. Did you know this, Caleb?
No.
Uh,
KKK uniforms are sewn in a factory in Shelton, Connecticut. Probably a small factory.
okay. Once again, I think what we're doing is we're probably going by rumors again. I don't know. I don't know of this. I've
Yeah.
never heard of this.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, Connecticut. I lived in New York for the first 35 years, and
What made you-
Connecticut ain't New York.
What made you move to New York? Just curious. I mean, to Connecticut.
What?
What made you move to? Oh, she said what? Real quiet. What made you move to Connecticut? Just curious. What did you move for work?
What do I do for work?
No. What made you move to Connecticut?
Oh, I married a guy who worked for Yale right out of high school.
Oh, okay.
He was in Local 34. I remember the strike in 1984, which gained practically nothing because Local 34 and Local 35 are weak unions. I am pro union, but those unions do practically nothing for the workers. I'm not impressed with 33 much either, but I'm glad they formed a union. It took them a long time.
Well, I better stop you before she really like. And 31 is a problem. 30 was also a bigger problem. 29, oh, forget about it. Local 28. No, I'm just teasing. Jokes. It's a joke. Okay. So I'm speaking with Wendy Hamilton. Wendy is running for mayor of the city of New Haven. The political climate is hot right now. Well, it's heating up. It's not hot yet. It's heating up. Uh, Wendy, her platform is, no more. She want to know if you're sick of tax increases, service decreases, ugly architecture, which is questionable, greedy rents. Got a point there. Board of Ed, Board of, what is it, BOA? Board of Assessments?
What, dear?
BOA. What's that? Board of what? What is BOA?
Oh, okay. Board of Alders.
Orders. Okay, Board of Orders.
First
And
of
then you have Board of
okay.
Zoning. Then she have worst air pollution. We have the worst air pollution.
We have the worst air pollution on the East Coast.
New Haven does.
I've been here 40 years and now I have asthma.
Okay. Many cities, residents have asthma on the East Coast.
Yes, I'd say
So-
30 to 40% of us have asthma now.
Okay, asthma is coming from a lot of things. A lot of things. It's not just a city thing.
That's a guesstimate.
Okay.
30 years ago, the number was 25% for sure.
Okay, but you're saying New Haven have the worst asthma on the East Coast? That's not
Yeah.
correct. That's not correct.
I bet.
No.
I found out 30 years ago, a doctor from Hartford was so shocked at our air pollution problem, he came here from Hartford and started a group called Environmental Justice Network.
Okay.
Environmental Justice Network, and I joined it.
Okay. Here's what I'm looking at. When you make statements like New Haven have the poorest pollution, where we have high on pollution, poorest air quality on the East Coast.
Well, if I had access to Data Haven, I could prove it, but they're busy. I've tried.
Yeah, well,
I can't even get them on the phone.
Well, until we have that data, why don't we refrain from using those kind of definites? When you say we have this stuff, why don't we refrain from using it until you have that data in front of you?
Why are we expanding an airport and making things worse?
What is your opposition to the airport? Expansion.
Air pollution, damage to the wetlands, not to mention ruining a beautiful residential neighborhood.
How is it ruining a beautiful residential neighborhood?
I've been there many times. I've driven all over that place.
How is it ruining? Because first and foremost, from what I understood, 1,000 feet is not going to go into the wetlands. The 1,000 feet was just, and it's not that you need, the planes are going to stop at the end of that 1,000 feet. Just that if you have bigger planes, it's safer to have the extra 1,000 feet expansion.
We don't need it.
Okay, but why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Like I said, air pollution, wetland pollution, and ruining the lives of the people who live there by doubling the planes and building a gigantic parking lot and another runway.
They're not building another runway. They were just expanding one runway.
They're going to build another runway.
Do you have that as fact?
Talk to the neighbors and the activists.
Do you have that as facts? That's all I want to know. Do you have it as facts? I like dealing with facts.
I went to a seminar about it last.
Okay, a seminar is one thing.
Yeah, there was a seminar.
What is the seminar? Was it built on facts, what they were talking about, or what people believe will come?
It was all facts. It was all bad news about the damage.
Wendy, I'm concerned about you wanting to be mayor, and all we hear is the bad news. You're loaded with information. Give me some good news.
I am not going to expand the airport.
That's good news.
Right.
Okay. Why do
I
you
am
think the
not going to
city?
allow any more parking lots or garages either.
Okay.
And if
So why wouldn't you do that? Parking lots and garages. Just curious.
because we're all breathing really dirty air here already.
But what about the fact that we're moving into more to
Well,
EV? What about the fact that we're moving more to e-vehicles? And
right now,
Mhm.
New Haven is living with an expanding tank farm.
Where?
Yes,
Where?
a tank farm on both sides of the Q Bridge.
We have
Diesel and jet fuel. We also have 3 power plants, 2 of them owned by Yale. We have a sewage treatment plant that takes care of several towns. We have scrap yards and waste yards and lots of messy construction sites all over town. And upstream from us on the Long Island Sound is Millstone Atomic Power Plant.
Here's what I would say.
We've
Wendy.
already stuck with these problems. They're not leaving.
Okay,
The
Wendy.
only thing we can change is the airport
Okay, here's what I would say.
and the cars.
Let me just put in my little 2 words. My little 2 words.
You want me to say?
I think that
You want me to say something?
no. I'm saying
All right.
my 2 words are not. I say 2 words. My few words. Package is this. Let's stop looking at all the. Well, no, we can look at the bad stuff. We can look at what's bad. But why don't we focus on how we're going to fix? We need certain things. We need economics. We do need, the city need economics. We need a tax base. We need to be able to work with buildings. We need to have businesses. We need to have businesses in the city for tax base. We need to have, and that's one of the reasons why the airport is proposed to expand. Because when you're a salesperson, when you have a company with salespeople or people moving around the country, going to Bradley or going to New York, it's not conducive to the city. It's not helping the city.
Most of us can't afford airplanes anymore. We're lucky if we can get on a train or
Okay.
a bus.
Okay, I just was talking about businesses, and you're back to individual. So either you didn't hear me or you just weren't listening to what
I'm
I was
listening.
saying. Okay. So we're on there are positives in having an airport. There are positive in the expansion of housing. There are positive in the expansion of development. We just have to do it correctly. Now, if we're going to do that, opposed to just wiping it out and don't have a plan on how we're going to replace stuff or how we're going to or wipe out stuff that could have been fixed, opposed to just dismantle. If we don't think like that, how are we going to be effective? How are we going to have a better society? Sometimes you just don't wipe out. You got to fix. Some things can be fixed.
We are being ripped off. I am going to fight for justice here and try to make it happen.
Look, there's nothing wrong with you fighting for justice. And we all find our way of how we're going to fight for justice. And look.
Listen, housing, you can build housing day and night. If nobody can afford it, what's the point? I'm going to put people in those buildings, whether developers like it or not.
Well, you just can't run into a building. Come on now, Wendy. We're talking about private entities. You just can't run in a building and just say, "Oh, I'm going to put people in here. Anyone I want to do it." No, it just don't work like that. That's good soundbite. This is what I'm talking about when I say these are bumper sticker politics lines that you're giving me. Those are not realistic. You just can't run into a private entity and say, I'm the government. Now you're talking about a totalitarian government. We're not a totalitarian government. That's not what we are. And we're not going to go there. We're not going to stop pushing that. I'm not going to go for that. I just cannot support that. Not in the slightest. I'm not just going to tell a developer, you got a private business and I want to support this right way. We just going to run into your building and take it over. When that person, whether we like the rules or not, they followed them. Whether we like it if they got $1 for the land or not, whether we like it or not, they followed the rules. They didn't walk into City Hall at gunpoint and say, give me $1 for take this land for $1. No, they followed the rules. And apparently the city thought it was great at the time. They thought it was great economic development to give the land to the developers. That's just it. No, was it right or was it wrong?
Yeah, if the rules are wrong, I'm not going to follow them.
Okay, you have the city right now from my building alone. The city is probably pulling out, I believe it was what? How much did they get on taxes on that?
We have 130,000 plus people in 20 square miles.
Good. I hear what you're saying. That's not even a question. People move back into cities for a whole bunch of other reasons more than what you're saying. Okay? The city is not just packed because people move into cities and move out of cities for a lot of reasons, a lot of personal reasons. And I just look, Wendy, I want to talk with you again. And, we've run out of time. We're way over clock. But
do I get a last word in?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to combat it. I know I'm going to have to combat that last word. Go ahead, real quick.
Okay.
You got like 20 seconds. Go.
And the people have the power to redeem the work of fools. From the meek, the graces shower. It's decreed the people rule. People have the power. By Patti Smith.
Okay, she nailed it in 20 seconds, but she didn't play.
Yeah.
You got it in on 20 seconds. Okay. Wendy, I thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Listen, as I stated before, I believe everyone, whether we believe in what they're saying, whether we agree with it or not, shutting people up is not the correct way. It is not the effective way to deal with issues. Shutting people up, shutting them out, just makes them want to get louder. That is the dumbest thing ever. Wendy, you came in. I was glad to have you in here. I'm glad to converse with you. Okay? Thank you again.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, good people. We're going to have to check you guys out tomorrow. But bring more ugliness.